Okay. Well, I would call the meeting to order. Good evening, everyone. This is the Municipal Land Use Board of the Borough of River Edge. It is Wednesday, June 25th, 2025. Time now 7:31 p.m. This meeting of the Municipal Land Use Board of the Borough of River Edge is being held remotely and recorded via Zoom due to Borough Council chambers unavailability and is in compliance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act and associated regulations. Notice of this remote meeting was published in the Bergen Record, posted on the front doors of Borough Hall and posted on the borough's website. Notice included the dial-in and login information necessary for public participation and access to this meeting remotely. Copy of the agenda for this meeting was made available on the borough's website near the posting of the meeting notice and included the dial-in and login information. During the public comment period of this meeting, if you would like to make a public comment, please press the raise hand button on Zoom or dial *9 on your telephone keypad to raise your hand. The board will address you by name or by the last four digits of your telephone number. You may mute and unmute yourself by pressing the microphone icon on Zoom or dialing *6 on your telephone keypad. You must state your name and address clearly prior to making a public comment. With that, I will ask Ms. Steinle to call the roll, please.
Hello, thank you. Mr. Mayor? Oh, I believe he's absent at the moment. Mr. Caslin?
Here.
Mr. Cray is excused. Ms. Boland?
Here.
Mr. Kinigo? Absent at the moment. Mr. Gibbons?
Here.
Mr. Pfeffer?
Here.
Mr. Gautier?
Here.
Councilman Glass?
He's excused tonight.
Excused.
Yep.
And Mr. Salvo was also excused, I believe.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Also present, we have our board planner, Mr. Behrens, our board engineer, Mr. Flores, and I do not see Mr. Depkin at the moment.
Was Mr. Depkin available this evening, Ed? I thought he had you're muted.
Say that again?
Was Mr. Depkin available this evening? I thought he may have had a conflict.
He should be here. He was
Okay.
invited.
Okay.
I thought he said last meeting he wasn't coming tonight.
Yeah, I thought,
Yeah, that was last meeting.
okay.
Ed Alter, Jason, though I see him, asked, Jason, are you good now as far as getting let in?
Yes, you know what it is, Ed? I mean, you remove me from the other account from the computer, so if I have to see the plans, I'm not going to be able to, because this is from my phone. If you could allow my, I don't know, for some reason I tried to log in with the other account and it says that.
Marina, maybe you can help. I tried to promote him to panelist, but it didn't work.
He's been promoted now, Ed.
Yeah, now I'm promoted to my phone. It's just the only thing I'm not going to be able to see the plans once they share that on the screen.
Jason, can you log in with your other account too?
It says that I've been removed and I have no access anymore.
Okay, I'll try and get it back.
Thank you, appreciate that.
Okay. Ms. Steinle's working on that. We will continue on with our agenda for this evening. First item of business is the approval of minutes. We have minutes from our June 11th, 2025 meeting. A draft of the minutes were circulated for the board's review prior to this evening's meeting. Open it to the board for comments or questions on the minutes as presented. There being no comment, I'll look for a motion to approve, please.
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Boland. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. You're muted.
Second was Mr. Gibbons.
I think it was Mr. Gautier.
Mr. Godier, okay.
Yeah.
And everyone was present, so we can just do a voice vote.
I'm going to abstain because I ended up with internet problems, so I wasn't at the whole meeting.
Oh, okay.
With my abstention, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any my abstention? Okay. Minutes are approved. Thank you. We're going to move to our next item, which are the executive minutes of June 11th, 2025. Draft of those minutes were presented to the board for review. comments or questions from the board? There being none, I'll look for a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Pfeffer. There's a second.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Boland.
All right, and same thing, Mr. Caslin, will you abstain?
I'll abstain. So my abstention, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the minutes are approved. Thank you. We're going to move now into the public hearing and adoption of the housing element and fair share plan. I'm going to turn the floor over to our borough planner, Mr. Behrens.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. Tom Behrens with the firm Burgess Associates. We represent the borough as its planning consultant. Marina, for this, do I need to be sworn in?
So I was just going to say, I'll just swear you in. If you raise your right hand, you swear or affirm that the testimony that you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
And you can just state your name, your licensure for the record.
Sure. Tom Behrens, licensed professional planner in the state of New Jersey, as well as a member of the American Institute of Certified Planners. Again, with the firm Burgess Associates located in Westwood, we've represented the borough since at least 2015, 2016 as its planning consultant. I was involved in the preparation of the borough's 2020 housing element fair share plan, and our firm has assisted about 43 other towns in preparing their municipal fair share plans for this current round. If you accept those as qualifications.
We'll accept them, Mr. Behrens.
Very good. Okay. So
Thank you.
what I'm going to attempt to do to facilitate this conversation is take aiming for about 15 minutes through a PowerPoint presentation. I'll be as thorough, but also as brief I could possibly be, recognizing that there's two applicants waiting to proceed. So again, for their benefit, I think the board's business in this matter will be probably about 20 minutes realistically. So just if you hang with me, I will share my screen and we'll try to make this as painless as possible. Bear with me.
Oh.
All right. Can everyone see? Good to go?
There we
Yes.
go.
All right, great. I saw it on my end, didn't see it on yours. Okay. So as I said, here to assist the board tonight in conducting a public hearing on the borough's 2025 Housing Element Fair Share Plan. The document is dated June 12th, 2025. And the plan specifically addresses the borough's fourth round affordable housing obligations and the manner in which the borough will address those obligations. To be clear, these are affordable housing obligations assigned by the state of New Jersey. This is not the borough. This is not our firm, indicating that the town needs to build more residential units, more affordable housing. So again, this is an effort to comply with the state's affordable housing requirement as assigned to the borough. And the plan itself is for the period we're referring to as the fourth round, which is for a 10-year period from July 2025 to July 2035. And one of the primary objectives of adopting this plan is to maintain the borough's immunity from what's called exclusionary zoning or builder's remedy lawsuits, which means that in some cases where towns don't comply with this process, developers are able to go find sites and develop in ways that are usually much more intense than that individual town would allow. So for instance, they might find an acre of land that's vacant or not, build develop a multifamily apartment building with X number of stories with so many units that would typically not be allowed by the town zoning ordinance. So what the immunity does is protect the borough from those sorts of challenges or lawsuits. So given that that's the case, I strongly recommend that the board adopt this document. We usually don't tell you to adopt something, but because there's a time constraint of June 30th, which I'll explain the process in a bit, by which all towns in New Jersey have to adopt their fourth round plans. Again, here we are, June 25th. I strongly recommend you adopt the plan this evening for the reasons stated. And I would also offer that the plan itself, one of the overarching goals is to achieve compliance in a way that minimizes impacts to the borough. And the plan itself is divided into 4 sections. There's an introduction, sort of giving an overview of affordable housing in New Jersey, requirements of this plan. The second section is what's known as the housing element section of the plan, which I'll discuss in a moment. Section 3 is an overview of the fair share obligation or the town's assigned obligation that it must address. Then the 4 is the fair share plan, essentially how the town will satisfy that obligation. So since we last met with the board at its last meeting on whatever 2 Wednesdays ago was, the plan has not changed in any significant way. So there shouldn't be anything new for the board. But again, this is a public presentation, so we'll go through the motions here. So one of the questions we get commonly asked is, how do we get here to this 4th round again for the period 2025 to 2035? So in fact, municipalities for over 50 years have had to address their affordable housing needs. And specifically, the Supreme Court in 1975 determined that the state constitution requires municipalities to provide a realistic opportunity to address their fair share of affordable housing. So it took a while for that to shake out to try to understand what that actually meant. But this is not a new requirement. Again, towns have had to address this for at least 50 years, though the numbers themselves, as far as the affordable housing obligations and the administrative compliance process, has evolved over time. So as I mentioned, it began in 1975 when a group of descendants of sharecroppers in Mount Laurel, New Jersey, sought to develop their land. They were eligible for a grant, but they wanted to develop the land in a way that was not conforming with the local zoning code. They wanted more intensity, essentially, than the town would allow on their, I forget it was 1 house per acre or 2 acres. In any event, the town basically said, well, if you can't adhere to our standards or you can't afford to live here, you better find somewhere else to live, and a few other nasty things. So that issue got challenged all the way to the New Jersey Supreme Court, which they made that initial decision known as the Mount Laurel 1 decision. And again, interpreted the state constitution that towns have this affordable housing obligation. 8 years went by, towns didn't know what to do with this. No affordable housing got built. So in 1983, Supreme Court rendered its Mount Laurel 2 decision, which clarified that not just every developing municipality, but all municipalities in New Jersey had this obligation. And they provided some guidance so that the legislature could act and provide a more specific framework for how towns ought to go about this. And in 1985, the state legislature did that by adopting the state's Fair Housing Act, which also created the Council on Affordable Housing, which was the state's administrative agent, which oversaw affordable housing for rounds 1, 2, and partially through round 3. Again, we're here in round 4. 1986, Mount Laurel 3 decision affirmed the validity of the Fair Housing Act. And then we got into the rounds. So the first round extended for the period of 1987 to 1993. Second round was 94 to 1999. And those first 2 rounds, frankly, worked very well. And again, COA administered that process. Then we got to 1999 and the verge of round 3, and COA came up with a new methodology or a new way of calculating municipal housing need numbers. And that got challenged. It ended up in the courts for nearly a decade. And finally, the Supreme Court got so fed up that in 2015, they rendered it their Mount Laurel 4 decision, which basically determined that COA is dysfunctional as an administrative agent, and therefore the courts are now going to take over the process. Thereafter, chaos ensued as far as towns having to negotiate with an affordable housing advocate known as Fair Share Housing Center. And so all towns participating in the 3rd round process, including River Edge, ended up settling with Fair Share Housing Center, not based on any prescribed rules, but really just based on terms of negotiated settlements on a municipal basis. So it was the Wild West, where it was every town for themselves, and it was not a very municipally friendly process. And again, that got us all the way till essentially now, till the end of June 2025. I will note that within the 3rd round court system, the borough did get its 3rd round plan certified, and it was able to reduce its obligation to what's called a realistic development potential of 0 units, which I'll elaborate on. But essentially, they were able to recognize that the town is fully developed, and therefore, again, was able to substantially reduce its obligation at that time. And then finally, in March of 2024, the state legislature enacted amendments to that original 1985 Fair Housing Act. And this new document is being referred to as the Fair Housing Act 2, or the amended Fair Housing Act. And it establishes the guidelines for this new 4th round just 15 months ago. So as far as the process is concerned, we're operating under this new 4th round compliance process. It's for a 10-year period, again, 25 to 2035. The entire state has had just 15 months to digest what the new legislation actually means. And in the legislation, it prescribes a new methodology for calculating one statewide housing, the affordable housing obligation statewide, which trickles down to 6 regions throughout the state and then gets divvied up into the 565 or so municipalities throughout the state. There's also a new administrative review process through what's called the program. I'll use air quotes. It's called the program in short, and as well as a process for mediating disputes between municipalities and any prospective challenges or developers. In that legislation, the Department of Community Affairs, or the DCA, was designated the entity to prepare these statewide affordable housing need calculations by October 2024. They did that in short order. In doing so, they indicated that those numbers, however, were non-binding and advisory. So that left the towns to have to come up and confirm their own numbers, which becomes a bit convoluted because you had to use the same process and essentially the same criteria that they used, and yet you had to come up with your own set of numbers. And these individual municipal numbers were based on 3 primary factors. The first being the increase in the equalized value of non-residential uses in the town from 2000 to 2024 at the time. It also considered changes to income in the municipality, and finally included what's called the land capacity factor, and essentially the amount of land, tabulated the amount of land that could be developed to produce affordable housing. So some towns challenged the DCA number. In River Edge, there really wasn't much room for dispute, so we accepted the DCA number, and towns had to accept their number by resolution by January 31st, 2025. The borough did that, I believe, on January 23rd, again, accepting the DCA's assigned number for the municipality. That then brought us to through what was known as the challenge period, where any town seeking to adjust their number was then challenged. A number of towns, where I believe there's about 159, that ended up in various forms of litigation through the month of February. Eventually, those aspects of litigation were resolved, and every town more or less got its number by March of 2025. So just really, what would it be, about 3 months ago, towns have gotten their numbers. So they've had about 3 months to then come up with a plan, where in the past round, the prior rounds, towns have had anywhere from 6 to 9 months to prepare their plan. So we've had a very short period of time throughout the state for towns to have to do this in a very what we perceive to be a rush process. Nevertheless, again, I mentioned there's this June 30th deadline, and here we are to fulfill that mandate. Once the borough adopts its housing plan, hopefully this evening, the council will have to endorse it, and I believe they're scheduled to do that at their council meeting tomorrow evening on June 26th. Starting on July 1st, there is another challenge period where any interested party throughout the state can challenge a municipal housing plan based on a prescribed procedure and certain, we'll call them rules of engagement, which they must adhere to. And then come September, the borough and all other towns will know whether or not they've been challenged, and then mediation can occur thereafter if necessary. And then finally, by March 31st, 2026, all towns must adopt any ordinances to implement their various affordable housing components. And I'll describe the borough's components in just a moment. So the first section of the plan is, again, the introduction. It provides an overview of affordable housing, essentially to define what affordable housing is. The New Jersey Home Mortgage and Finance Agency provides income limits to determine who qualifies for affordable housing, and it's based on income predicated on the median income of the region. Again, we're in Region 1, which is Bergen, Passaic, Hudson, and Sussex counties. And it also considers how many people live in that household. So just for example, the median income for a 4-person household in Region 1 is $127,200. Any 4-person household that earns $101,760 or less would technically qualify for affordable housing. And as you see, there are different levels of affordable housing. There's moderate housing, which is at 80% of median income, low, which is at 50% of the median income, and then very low, which is at 30% of the median income. I already ticked off the abbreviated history of affordable housing in New Jersey, so we can move on from that. And then finally, the Section 1 articulates the housing element and fair share plan requirements as dictated by this new Fair Housing Act 2, as well as the municipal land use law, which governs development in New Jersey. Section 2 is the housing element portion of the document. Again, this is a housing element and fair share plan. This is one of 2 required master plan elements by the municipal land use law. So for every town, in order to have a valid zoning ordinance, you must have at least a housing element and you must have a land use plan element. The housing element is the only document that has to be endorsed by a town because it, in some cases, it commits the town to some types of funding. And I'll give an overview of that in a bit, how that relates to River Edge. But again, usually a master plan element is the purview of the planning board. In this process, the housing element must be adopted by the planning board, but it also must be endorsed by the council, given if, the extent to which there are any commitments that the governing body must adhere to. The housing element also gives an overview of the borough's existing land use pattern. You could see on the chart on this particular slide, it gives the distribution of the various land uses that exist in the borough. For example, about 63% of the land area in the borough is occupied by single and 2-family development, which is actually considerably less than most of the other suburban towns in Bergen County. And you'll notice that just 5.6% are attributable to commercial properties. And then finally, the housing element, as required by state law, requires that you provide an overview of the borough's housing stock, its population, and employment trends in order to establish projections as they relate to affordable housing. Just to tick off a few points of interest, since 2000, I would offer that the borough's housing stock has remained relatively stable, not increasing any more than about 100 units, 69 of those being the multifamily development that's on Kinderkamak Road, just south of Howland Avenue. About 84% of the borough's housing stock was constructed prior to 1984. So at this point, our housing stock is a bit aged. Our peak population occurred in 1960, and it was just over 13,200 residents. Today, we're at about 12,000 residents, so about 9% less than that 1960 peak. And again, it's never gotten anywhere close to that number since. And I would just offer that the housing element recognizes that the town is fully developed, that there's really not much room for growth, which relates to the opportunity for new housing as well as for employment. And that's a theme that was identified in the town's housing plan that was adopted in 1988. So for nearly 4 decades, the town has identified itself as being fully developed, and I would concur with that conclusion. So jumping into the meat of what this plan is all about and the borough's fair share obligation, I noted that the DCA was instructed to come up with the statewide affordable housing obligation for this 10-year period. They did that. They came up with a number of about 85,000 that the state of New Jersey should provide in that 10-year period. That number, again, was divvied up into the 6 housing regions. The borough is in Region 1, which actually got the most of the allocation of all the 6 regions. And the Region 1 obligation was 27,743 affordable housing units, which was then divided into the individual municipalities, Borough of River Edge being one of those. I'll note that where I said they get divided into all the towns, they actually do not get divided into what are known as urban aid municipalities. I believe there were 42 in this process that were exempt. They included the likes of Hoboken, Jersey City, Hackensack, Montclair, and there's actually litigation going on as to why those towns should or should not be exempt. But be that as it may, they are exempt for the time being. And the borough's obligations are as follows. So the DCA assigned the borough a 4th round present need obligation of 32 units. Present need refers to existing units or the rehabilitation of existing units that qualify for this type of relief, let's say. But the law allows municipalities to conduct what's called a structural conditions or a windshield survey to assess the actual need in the community, and the borough did that. So we were able to adjust our number from 32 units to 7 units, which is fairly consistent to the borough's 3rd round obligation. And the more concerning number is the number that was assigned by the DCA for the prospective need, which relates to new units. So DCA is saying the Borough of River Edge should construct 159 new units of affordable housing between 2025 and 2035. And why that's significant, you might look at that number and say, wow, that's a large number by itself. Most towns don't develop affordable housing in affordable housing only projects or exclusively affordable housing. And the way they do it is typically through inclusionary development, which means that it includes a mix of market rate housing and affordable housing at a typical ratio whereby 20% of the total number of units is designated affordable. So if you have an obligation of, let's say, 20 affordable units, that means you'd have to produce about 100 units. So if you do the math and you do 159 affordable units times 5, the state is saying that the borough should be able to build or should have to build 795 total units within that 10-year period. And I probably everyone on here would perceive that to be unrealistic and unreasonable. The good news is that the law allows towns like River Edge that are fully developed to take advantage of what's called the vacant land analysis, which we did in the third round. And as I mentioned, we reduced our third round number to what's called a realistic development potential. And the third round number was 0 units. And again, we've concluded that the borough's fourth round number should be 0 units. The vacant land analysis takes a look at all of the vacant and developable land in the town that can produce at least 5 units or more, and that is not environmentally constrained. And by the number of 0, you can see that the town has no such land that could be developed for affordable housing. So it doesn't end there. And you'll notice the chart below gives an overview or a summary of all the borough's obligations since the first round. So again, we have this present need or rehabilitation obligation of 7 units, which has to be administered through a rehabilitation program. This was taken care of by the borough through the Bergen County Home Improvement Program for the third round. We expect that to continue for the next 10 years. The borough's first and second round obligation, again, for that period of 87 to 99 was 73. That doesn't go away. At the time, the borough, again, thought itself was fully developed, so it didn't really address it at the time. So that number kind of lingers and carried forth through the third round. And then we had the third round state obligation was 197, but we reduced that to 0. And again, here the borough was assigned for the fourth round a number of 159. And again, that number was reduced to 0. So as far as how do we satisfy these various obligations, there are a few components. The first being this prior round obligation that must be satisfied. And the aspect of these plan components are articulated in the town's third round plan that was court certified and also included a settlement agreement with Fair Share Housing Center. So these mechanisms or components include the existing senior units at St. Peter's Church. They're attached to the church. There's 23 total units, 18 of which were applied to this prior round obligation of 73 units. There are also 3 existing group homes in River Edge at the addresses indicated, which add up to, if I do my math right, about 12 group home bedrooms. So it's not the actual structure, but the number of bedrooms that give you the credits. And then finally, as part of the third round compliance process, the borough adopted 2 redevelopment plans, one known as the Newbridge Landing Station redevelopment area. I'll show a map of that in just a minute, as well as the Kindercamack Road redevelopment area, each providing the number of units and corresponding bonus credits in one case to achieve that number of 73. I'll note that towns can only satisfy up to 25% of their obligation with bonus credits. So that's why we stopped at 19 in this case. So these mechanisms or components generate up to 54 actual affordable units and also include 19 bonus credits to get to that number of 73 units. And you can see that all the mechanisms are either completed or the zoning has been adopted for those components. And just to give an overview of the sites briefly, this is the Newbridge Landing redevelopment area. It surrounds the Newbridge Landing train station. You can see the parcels in question, some of which are owned by NJ Transit and some of which are owned by the borough of River Edge. And as you can see, the site itself is bisected by the rail corridor. The second redevelopment plan area is actually right across the street or just to the southwest is the Kindercamack Road redevelopment area. It's about an acre in area currently occupied by the Let It Grow landscapers headquarters, as well as a laundromat. And it's zoned for, I believe, 20 units per acre with an affordable housing set aside of 20%. So although I said we reduced our fourth round obligation from 159 to 0, that 159 doesn't necessarily go away. It translates to what's called unmet need. An unmet need is essentially the difference between the state assigned number and your realistic development potential. So in this case, the math is 159 minus 0 is 159. So that's our unmet need. However, the state doesn't require that you address that in full. It says that basically it's aspirational. You need to put forth a good faith effort in trying to address as much as you can. And in this chart, you can see how the borough does that for its fourth round plan. Some of these mechanisms carry over from the third round, but nevertheless, it's our opinion that they still qualify. And you could see that the surplus units from the St. Peter's residents, 5 of the 23, satisfy this obligation. We have the Newbridge Crossing inclusionary development, which is that 69 unit multifamily development on the east side of Kinderkamak Road, just south of Howland. It has 69 total units and 7 senior units, which qualify. And just north of that is what's called the multifamily and senior conditional use district, within which that inclusionary development occurred. And so there are other parcels which are developed with single family homes that are technically within that district, but in theory could yield another 24 affordable units. And then finally, as part of the third round process, the borough created what's called an overlay zone over the 3 parcels on Newbridge Road, which are developed as the site that has the golf course simulators. There's a new retail plant store and the BP gas station are the 3 parcels that are in this overlay zone. And if developed with housing, they would generate at least 13 affordable units. So you could see that those add up to 49 of that 159 number of unmet need. This is just a satellite view of that particular overlay zone. Again, you have the BP is that southerly lot, the golf course simulator site in the middle, and then the retail plant store to the north. And so just 2 more slides, so hang in there. So just some considerations. The program is the state entity that's going to be reviewing all this, which again is a new process. Everybody's learning as we go. The tires are getting changed as the car is speeding down the highway. So we're all kind of learning. There are all sorts of disputes throughout the state. So our vacant land analysis will be reviewed, although I believe because we got certified for 0 units in the third round, nothing's changed. It should remain the same. However, there's this new requirement that is a new feature of the fourth round legislation, which says that towns have to satisfy 25% of their prospective need obligation as adjusted through redevelopment. And there's at least 4 different interpretations throughout the state of what that means. Our interpretation is that it's 25% of the RDP, which has been true in prior rounds, meaning that prospective need that is adjusted is the realistic development potential. That's just definitionally how it's been applied. So 25% of 0 in this case is 0. That's our position. The other position, that the more extreme position that Fair Share Housing Center and some others take, is that it's actually 25% of the unmet need. So in this case, it would be 25% of 159, which gets us to an obligation of about 40 units. So that there is going to be a challenge in the fall as to what this actually means. So the borough should think about how it might respond to that if it's interpreted not in favor of our view of it. But I would note the way we're interpreting it is the way the majority of towns in New Jersey are interpreting it. And again, there are 4 different variations. Everyone's kind of doing their own thing, but I would say 99% of the towns we represent, as well as the majority of other towns participating in this process, have the same view that we do. We just don't know how the program or the courts are going to land on this one particular issue. So as my third bullet point is that the borough, again, just think about how it might satisfy an increase in the obligation if it occurs. And there is a subcommittee that was established and designed to do that. So that's something we could talk about over the summer. Last but not least, next step. So here we are, June 25th. Again, I would advise the board to adopt this document, the June 12th Housing Element Fair Share Plan. Once adopted, it has to be filed with the program within 48 hours. So we'll work with the borough's affordable housing attorney and/or Marina to make sure that happens. Tomorrow evening, the mayor and council should endorse the plan, which is part of the compliance process to preserve immunity. We'll get beginning July 1st, extending through August, we'll have that plan challenge period. Come the fall, we'll know whether or not, or actually come September 1st, we'll know whether or not we've been challenged. We'll have to deal with that accordingly. And then finally, we'll have to adopt any ordinances as identified in the plan. So that's an overview of the plan. I will stop sharing and be glad to answer any questions. I guess we'll start with the board and then maybe turn it over to the public, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Behrens.
Yeah.
Questions from the board?
Crickets.
All right.
We went over a lot of this 2 weeks ago, so it's not new information. And we had some questions then, I'll note for the record.
All right. Silence being golden.
Yeah.
Okay, we do, looks like We have
This
one-
is a public hearing and there is one member of the public.
Okay, so,
They're on their phone.
all right, do we need a motion to open to the public then?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Givens, is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Boland. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, any abstained? Okay, we are now open to the public for comment on this aspect of the agenda only. Again, this is the housing element and fair share plan.
So the one member of the public is dialing in on their phone, so if they're interested in commenting, please press *9 on your telephone to raise your hand. And then we'll let you speak.
We have a
Oh,
hand.
here it is. All right, and then you'll have to press *6 to unmute yourself. All right, I think you're good to go.
Hi, Dr. Saeed here from resident 657 Bogart Road. I did receive this letter. I tried to get on by Zoom, but couldn't do that. I'm not an expert about this zoning and all those things, just as a neighbor of a concern, especially looking at the size of this garage. Almost 600
Singh?
square feet and
Mr.
19
Singh?
feet of the height. Hello,
Can,
do you hear me?
are you here to comment on the housing element and fair share plan?
Actually, I logged in just now, just dialed in now because I was late, came late. I don't know what happened behind, but only my concern, I just want to bring my concern, and then whatever the decision, I will go with that, I just want to bring one of my concerns.
So,
that
Well,
this
sir,
garage-
I think we're getting ahead of ourselves. You're here for the application on Adams Avenue, is that accurate?
that is the, yes, this is, what is that, the Jefferson Avenue?
Well, maybe
Uh,
Jefferson, right? So, but just so you're aware, we're not up to that point on the agenda. So the board is wrapping up its discussion of its housing plan. Do you have any
Oh,
comments about the
okay.
housing plan?
No, this is, I
Okay.
think,
Great.
because I joined in between, so I didn't know where
Understood.
you are in the meeting.
Okay,
Great.
if
No
you're
problem.
looking to make a comment on the Jefferson Avenue application, that is later on in our agenda this evening.
Okay.
All right, so we'll
should
let
I-
you know when it's time for that, and I'll let you come back and speak again, okay?
What time would be that on the agenda? Because entire time, I have to wait.
We
No, you'll
have-
have to,
It'll be a few minutes. We've got a couple of other things, items of business to attend to, but you're welcome to
Oh,
stay and listen.
Yeah, so should I be back in half an hour? That'll be ballpark?
I couldn't give you an exact time. It all depends on the flow of business on our agenda this evening, so.
Okay.
But again, I invite you.
Okay, I will try it in half an hour, and then even if you'll pass through that agenda point, then at least I can bring my concern at that point, hopefully.
Okay,
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 thank you.
Thank you very much.
thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.
Okay, since we have no one else in the public, I'll look for a motion to close the public.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Pfeffer. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Givens, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any
Aye.
opposing? All right. At this time, due to the timing constraints that Mr. Behrens alluded to in his testimony, we do have a motion that was circulated approving or adopting the 2025 Housing Element and Fair Share Plan. But prior to a motion on that resolution, I'll look to see if there are any final comments or questions from the board. If not, I will then look for a motion to approve the resolution.
So moved.
Okay, I got Mr. Godier as a first or a second.
Second.
I think I got Mr. Givens on the photo finish.
All right, and this is, I'll do the roll call vote for the adoption of the plan. Mr. Caslin,
Yes,
Ms. Boland,
Yes.
Mr. Gibbons,
Yes.
Mr. Pfeffer,
Yes.
Mr. Godier,
Yes.
All right, the motion passes.
Okay.
Thank you all.
Thank you,
Well,
Mr. Barron's, for your hard work and effort on the putting this together.
Yeah, great work, Tom.
For collaboration. I appreciate it.
Okay, we are going to move along in our agenda for the evening. We are now into memorialization. Application by Dark Star Development. The property in question is 335 Johnson Avenue, block 1405, lot 3. Seeking approval and extension of a variance previously granted by the board. Draft of the motion was, draft of the resolution was circulated to the board prior to this evening's meeting. Open it to the board for comments or questions on the draft. There being none, I'll look for a motion to approve the resolution as provided.
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Boland. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Pfeffer.
All right, I'll only call those eligible. Ms. Boland,
Yes.
Mr. Gibbons,
Yes.
Mr. Pfeffer,
Yes.
and Mr. Gautier.
Yes.
Okay, the motion passes.
Okay, thank you, everyone. We are now going to move under completeness review section of our agenda this evening. The first application is David Allen, property in question, 124 Jefferson Avenue, block 613, lot 13. Application seeks variance approvals for a detached garage. Ms. Steinley?
Thank you. Yes, prior to the meeting, I reviewed the proofs submitted by the applicant and found them to be sufficient for the board to have jurisdiction over the application tonight.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Depkin has not made it here. Mr. Barron's, Mr. Barron's is off, okay.
He's back. He's back.
He's back.
Yes, I'll be honest, I did not take a look at those application materials.
I didn't think you had. That's why I was just wanted to confirm that was the case. So no problem there. Mr. Flores.
Are we doing both? Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Chairman. Are we doing both applications or just first one, the 124 Jefferson Avenue?
We're attending to 124 Jefferson right now.
124 Jefferson Avenue. Okay. Good evening, everybody. I'm just covering for Rob Costa tonight. Jason Flores, Costa Engineering. Our office received a copy of the architectural plans dated May 5, 2025, prepared by Mr. Joseph Farah. We also reviewed the property survey prepared by McNally Engineering, the letter of non-compliance for Mr. Stephen Depkins, and the land use board zoning application. And the information provided is sufficient for the board to move forward with the hearing tonight.
Okay, thank you very much. Questions from the board on completeness? Okay, there being none, I'll look for a motion to deem the application complete.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Gautier. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Pfeffer.
All right, Mr. Caslin,
Yes.
Ms. Boland,
Yes.
Mr. Gibbons,
Yes.
Mr. Pfeffer,
Yes.
Mr. Gautier.
Yes.
Okay, the motion passes.
Okay, thank you very much. We're going to move to the next item under completeness review. The applicant is Danielle and Daniel Rappaport. Subject property is 726 Center Avenue, block 411, lot 9. Application seeking approval of a proposed addition and renovation to the subject property. Ms. Steinley.
Thank you. Prior to the meeting, I reviewed the proofs submitted by the applicant and found them to be sufficient for the board to hear the application tonight.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Flores.
Our office review the architectural plans prepared by Scott Bella with the date May 21st, 2025. The boundary survey from Mr. Smith surveying. Mr. Smith from Smith surveying, the letter of non-compliance from Mr. Steve from our zoning official Stephen Depkins, and the land use board's zoning application, and the information review is sufficient for the application to move forward tonight.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Flores. Questions or comments from the board on completeness? Okay, there being none, I'll look for a motion to deem the application complete.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Givens. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Pfeffer.
All right, Mr. Caslin,
Yes.
Ms. Boland,
Yes.
Mr. Gibbons,
Yes.
Mr. Pfeffer,
Yes.
and Mr. Godier.
Yes.
Okay, the motion passes.
Okay, thank you, everyone. We're going now under new business under our agenda this evening. The applicant is David Allen. Subject property is 124 Jefferson Avenue, Block 613, Lot 13. Application for a proposed detached garage seeking variance relief. I believe we've got the applicant, Mr. Allen, and his architect, Mr. Sarah. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Ms. Steinley, if you would do the honors.
So if you please both raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony that you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Yes, I do.
All right, and Mr. Allen, if you please state your name, spell your last name, and provide your address for the record.
David Allen, Allen, 124 Jefferson Avenue, River Edge, New Jersey, 07661.
Thank you. And Mr. Sarah,
Yes.
Could you-
Joseph,
state your name and then provide your background.
sure. Joseph F. Sarah Jr., SARRA, 168 Cozy Lake Road, Oak Ridge, New Jersey, 07438.
And could you provide the board with some background on your licensure and experience?
I've been a licensed architect in New Jersey since 2000. I'm registered an engineer in New Jersey since 2010. I'm licensed in 6 other states. I've testified in front of a number of other boards. This is the first time in front of River Edge, though. And I've been practicing for over 20 years.
Questions from the board as to Mr. Sarah's qualifications? Okay. There being none, Mr. Sarah, I'll turn it over to you. I imagine you provide a summary of the application, please.
I believe Mr. Allen was just going to give an overview at first, and then I'll get into the technical aspect of it, if that's.
That works too. Mr. Allen?
Sure.
Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for your time. Yeah, so just a brief overview. Moved to River Edge in December of 1999. Love the town, love the house that we're in. 3 kids through the school system. 2 of them are River Edge Fire Department volunteers. Son is also a member of the Boy Scout Troop in River Edge, Troop 2295. Been wanting to build, I'll say, my dream garage since we moved here. The existing garage is a single small garage built when the house was built. In a dilapidated state. The sill plate is completely deteriorated by termites. The concrete slab is also deteriorated. So I would like to build a 2-car garage on the same lot in the back left corner of the property. I have an irregular shaped property, so it's kind of challenging. I reduced my original size of the garage to where you see it now on the plans, just so it's more manageable on the property, and also to keep a 4-foot setback from the rear and side property lines. You know, mainly it's going to be for storage, and also I have an antique motorcycle and car that have been outside, unfortunately, for the past 20 years in a temporary, you know, tarp structure, you know, out in the weather. So I'd like to get them inside, protect the investment. So I'd like to keep them inside this 2-car garage, and also, you know, I'll say going into my years of retirement here, hopefully the next 3 or 4 years, a place that I can, you know, work on these vehicles, you know, with my son, who's got quite the interest in the same things that I do. To work in a Teterboro Airport for the past 38 years in aircraft maintenance and management. That's the brief overview of the garage.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Allen.
Yep.
Mr. Sarah?
Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. As Mr. Allen said, we're proposing a garage to replace his existing 1-car garage that was built with the house, which is deteriorating. The new garage is going to be 25 feet by 26 feet garage with a loft for household storage items and car parts. As he said, he has an antique car and motorcycle. He's looking to place it on. We situated on there. Right now, the existing garage is on the back lot line. It's only 6 inches off the back lot line. The new garage, we're proposing to be within the zoning of 4 feet on both sides. So we're improving the setback for the garage currently. The materials for the garage, he's planning on using vinyl siding and asphalt shingles. The colors haven't been determined because he's made it known that once the garage is built, he will probably be upgrading and the siding on his existing house. So to say he's matching the existing house would not be accurate. He's for lighting. I know that was one of the questions of the Mr. Costa, is just some downlights in the front canopy of the garage, the overhang over the garage door. So there would be no light spread to the neighbors, and just a small wall mounted light by the side door, when he's going between the garage and the deck to see the walkway. Going to Mr. Costa's zoning review, I have a couple clarifications. He brought up the building coverage, which I apologize was not on the drawing, but he wanted it clarified for the meeting. The existing building coverage is with the building, the garage, and the deck comes out to be 13.5%, which is under the 25% that is required. And the new garage, the new building and garage is, and the deck will come out to 18.38, which is still under the 25. So there would be no variance required for building coverage. As far as lot coverage, I did without amenities because there really are no yard amenities would be added to this. So I'm taking the more restrictive, and the existing would be with everything, new driveway, garage, and the existing building, stairs, walkways is 19.35%, which is under the 30% required. And the proposed with the new garage and everything would be 26.26%, which is still under the 30%. So there'd be no variance required for lot coverage. The variances that are required is the maximum area for a detached garage. What's required is 450. We're proposing 650. And as the homeowner mentioned, he originally wanted a bigger garage, but knowing the requirements, he pared it down to get it as small as possible, being comfortable to put a car, motorcycle, and then just yard equipment, because he'll be using this as to store lawn equipment, so he won't need a shed on the property. The other variance required for the garage is height variance. Zoning requirement is 15, and he's proposing 19. The reason for that is he's looking to have stairs up to this loft to, like I said, store car parts and household storage, because he has limited storage in the existing house currently. He has no plans on making this a habitable space. That was one of the other comments from the engineer. There's no intention of doing that for the building. As far as soil movement, approximate soil movement is about 26.5 cubic yards. It's just for the footings and foundations. And that's about it. If you have any questions, feel free. Thank you.
Okay, let me turn it over to Mr. Flores, please.
Good evening. Thank you for
evening.
clarifying a couple of items from our general comment from the review letter. So going back to just for clarification purposes, so the lot coverage and improved lot coverage for the existing and the proposed condition providing on the submitted plans were incorrect, and the numbers that you testified tonight which I believe you said 18.24 for the proposed a building coverage and 26% for the for the lot coverage. Is that correct?
Yeah, 18.38% is for building coverage, and that's proposed. And the proposed lot coverage without amenities, like I said, the definition for amenities, he has no amenities that would add that 5% in there. So I just took the restrictive. And the proposed lot coverage is 26.26%. That and that calculation, and correct me if I'm wrong, that is with the deck reduction because it's an open deck with a non-impervious, it's just gravel underneath. So there in the code says 75% reduction in the area of the deck. And then also for the driveway, I believe Mr. Costas mentioned in his letter that any driveway impervious from the front of the house, the face of the house to the backyard is not included. And that's how
Correct.
that's how those numbers were calculated. So yeah, there'd be no variances required then.
That's for the lot coverage. The only thing I do, I just want to point it out that for the credit is not applied for building coverage, and I would like to see those numbers just reflected on the revised plans, just for just to make sure that we that we accurately have those numbers in there. And the other thing, it will just go back to stormwater management. As always, you're having an increase, so some stormwater management calculation will be needed. I don't know if I believe usually it's done as a condition of approval. Soil movement also will be done as a condition of approval if the board should approve this application. It will come for us for review and approval at that point. Another thing I want to ask, I saw a couple of retaining walls that is being implemented. Is that driveway, is the grade going to change leading into the garage?
No, actually, the garage, the existing garage right now is on the flat, on the upper part of the backyard. It's all flat, and it's relatively flat to midway through the existing building down the driveway. Then it slopes down towards the street. The retaining wall would be only 2 to 3 feet, if that, because right now his front yard grade from his walkway to the current driveway, it drops down, and the applicant just wants to kind of put a retaining wall to level the front yard out in that area.
Okay, my recommendation will be to you and then to the board, if the application move forward, is on once you pull out the soil movement permit, show some gray spot elevations, just to see how that gonna be changed on the entrance of the driveway and the retaining wall. So that way you don't exceed the 4 feet 4 feet maximum allowed. Otherwise, we'll have to ask for calculations and all that as part of the retaining wall. I don't have any other comments or any other questions for you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I do have a question, if I may. What are the utilities to the garage going to be?
He is right now there is a electric going to the garage, and he is planning on keeping electric. He stated that he might have to upgrade just for some of the equipment for working on a car, compressor or so forth. So he stated that he might upgrade the electric, but there is existing electric there. There's going to be no plumbing at the garage. And heating, he might just put a space heater in there, so there might be a gas line run to the garage, but that would be it.
I'm sorry, I accidentally cut out for a moment.
No, no problem.
Could you just repeat the utilities? I'm sorry.
Sure, no problem. Electric is existing. He might upgrade the electric if it's deemed not sufficient, but there is existing electric to the garage. There's going to be no plumbing provided other than possibly a gas line for a space heater in the garage. And yeah, no plumbing, just electric and a gas line. That's it.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
If may I, can I ask one more question for the
Sure.
professional? Okay, so it's related to the garage, because that's where the variance is going to be, the high variance for the garage and then the size of the garage. Have you gone around the neighborhood and confirmed that it's like there is another similar garage size around town, around the area? I'm sorry. How this is going to compare to the rest of the neighborhood?
I have not, but I would think Dave could answer that.
Yeah, I can answer that. So if you look at the pictures, there's one of the garage on the neighbor to the rear of me. He has a 2-car garage that's pretty much butted right up against the property line, against the back of mine. His is about, I think his is at 15 feet. And then the only other garages I saw in town, in River Edge, with the 19 feet or higher, are ones that are attached to the house. I did not see any attached garages that height. Other towns I did, but I didn't see one in River Edge. There's a recent one on Spring Valley Road in Paramus that's quite large.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, let me pull the board this time. Ms. Boland, can I start with you, please?
Well, it sounds like it was a very thorough review for us, but since we already know the resident on Bogart has called in, would you consider putting in some evergreens between the two properties to block the height of the garage?
There actually is a neighbor to the left of me. Actually, there's he has a row of arborvitaes on his property that's already blocking the current garage. I'd have to go out and measure how high they are. But yeah, possibility if need be, if it's requested. I thought I heard him say though he was from Bogart, so he's not a next door neighbor.
Oh, I assumed his backyard was to you.
Yeah, no, that would be the backyard. The street behind me is Adams. Bogart is the
Okay.
main thoroughfare. I thought I heard he said he was from Bogart.
Okay, that's all I have.
Okay, thank you,
Thank
Ms.
you.
Boland.
Thank
Mr. Pfeffer.
Yeah, thank you. Just one quick question, just to put it on the record. You're not planning on using this garage space for commercial purposes, meaning other cars that people bring to you for repairs or, working on other people's cars as a commercial business. Is that right?
Nope. Yeah, absolutely not. That's correct. It's basically for my antique car and motorcycle. My son likes to work on lawnmowers and snow blowers, so that too.
Okay, thank you. I have no other questions. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Mr. Gibbons.
No, I don't have anything. Very well thought out, and I'm good. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Godier.
No questions at this time. Thank you.
Okay. The only question I have for you, gentlemen, is just one of Mr. Costa's points, just a confirmation that the property survey you submitted was from December of 2000. Can you just confirm the accuracy of the improvements that are shown on that survey are consistent as it appears today?
Yep, I can confirm that. There's been no other work done to the property since that survey was done.
Okay, very good. If approved tonight, just to confirm, you would agree that the resolution of approval would restrict any sort of residential use of the mezzanine level in the garage?
Correct. Yeah, there'll be no living space, no anything, and we can note that on the site plan.
Okay, very good. And I guess also take into account Mr. Pfeffer's comment too, just that no commercial uses.
Yep. No
Okay.
commercial use.
Okay, that's all I have. So at this time, I will look for a motion to open back up to the public.
So moved.
Okay, I think I have Ms. Boland and Mr. Godier. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstained? Being none, we're open to the public. Ms. Steinle, I don't see anybody in the audience unless you do.
No, I do not.
Okay. That being the case, then I will look for a motion to close to the public.
So moved.
Okay, I think I have Mr. Cody on a first, Mr. Gibbons on a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed and abstained? We're now closed to the public. Final questions or comments from members of the board or Mr. Flores, Ms. Steinle?
Again,
I'll
just
just-
to put it, oh, I'm sorry, my bad.
I'm sorry. I'll just go over the conditions that we had talked about, that the plans would be updated to note that there'll be no habitable space in the garage, habitable living space in the garage. The site plan will be revised to include updated calculations for building and lot coverage. The applicant will comply with stormwater management and soil moving permit requirements in coordination with the borough engineer. The grade spot elevations will be taken, if that's what I heard correctly, and included at the time of soil movement. And then the applicant agrees that no commercial operations will occur in the garage.
Do we
I think
we
that
also
was
need,
everything.
do we need to say anything about the arborvitae or the retaining walls?
I did look at the survey, so the houses to the left of your garage, well, looking at your home to the left of the garage, they do front Bogart Road, right?
Yeah, their front, out their front door is Bogart.
Right, so the person who had tried to call in, he's probably talking because it's in his backyard. And that's why I'm back to the arborvitae's. I'm not sure if 4 feet's enough room to plant. But if they are, if there's anything you can do to buffer the height.
Yeah, I'd be willing to do something. I mean, just by his, I'll say his accent, it's not a next door neighbor that I'm aware of.
Okay,
Well, for anyone then, even if it's not someone that, just the fact that you have a height variance, it would, minimize any impact on any property.
Yeah, I could consider it. Like you mentioned, the 4 feet, I don't know if that's enough room. But if there's, I don't know.
Mr. Sarah, do you have any thoughts on that?
I can talk with Mr. Allen and whatever suggestions we can bring to the board as a condition and plan it.
Well,
Like
I
you
think
said,
it would be addressed through the borough because I'm assuming you're not coming back to us, so.
but yeah, like he said, on that side of the garage, there's existing arborvitae's, full, like mature arborvitae's already there. He'll plant any more since the garage is getting slightly bigger in that direction. I don't see a problem with that.
If
And
I could defer to the engineer to
So-
just oversee that.
And one of the pictures shows that row of arborvitae's that I'm talking about. It's a nice wall of arborvitae's.
So you'll just fill in the arborvitae's once the new garage is constructed. Is that acceptable?
Yeah, I guess if the neighbor requests it.
Well, actually, at this point,
Yeah.
we're requesting it because it is a height variance.
yeah, so if you work with the borough engineer when the construction's complete to put in the appropriate screening, just to buffer the height, that's what we're looking for.
Okay,
yeah, I don't see a problem with that, Dave.
agreeable to that. Yep. Sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Flores, any further from you?
No, I'm good. Thanks.
Okay. All right, if there's nothing further from the board with those stipulations just referenced, I will look for a motion on the application, please.
I can make the motion for 124 Jefferson Avenue, block 613, lot 13, per the conditions read by Ms. Steinle, to approve the variances requested for garage height and accessory structure building coverage. Is that what it was?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Gibbons, and the second from Mr. Godier. Ms. Steinle, when you're ready.
Thank you, Mr. Caslin,
Yes.
Ms. Boland,
Yes.
Mr. Gibbons,
Yes.
Mr. Pfeffer,
Yes.
and Mr. Godier.
Yes.
Okay, the motion passes.
Okay, gentlemen, congratulations. Best of luck.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you all for your time tonight. Thank you.
Moving along in our agenda, we have under new business, the applicant is Danielle and Daniel Rappaport. Property is 726 Center Avenue, block 411, lot 9. Application seeking variance relief for building coverage and improved lot coverage. I believe the applicant is here with us this evening. Good evening. I believe your architect is here as well, Mr. Bella. Good evening.
Good evening.
Ms. Steinle, when you're ready.
All right. Yeah, okay. If you please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony that you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
You.
Yes.
All right, and we'll start with Danielle Rappaport. If you could please state your name, spell your last name, and provide your address for the record.
My name is Danielle Rappaport, Rappoport, and the address is 726 Center Ave in River Edge, New Jersey, 07661.
All right, and Mr. Rappaport?
Daniel Rappaport, same spelling, Rapoport, same address, 726 Center Avenue, River Edge, New Jersey, 07661.
Thank you. And Mr. Bella, if you could please state your name, spell your last name, and provide the board with some background on your experience and licensure.
Sure. Scott Bella, Bella, 65 Glen Avenue, Glen Rock, New Jersey. Licensed architect in New Jersey. I've been practicing for roughly 28 years in the state of New Jersey. Most of my work is throughout Bergen County. I've been through too many of zoning boards, including River Edge, and made presentations to many of the boards there. My license is in good standing in New Jersey.
Welcome back. Any questions on Mr. Bella's qualifications from the board? Okay. I will turn the floor over to you, Mr. Bella, or to the Rappaports for your opening statements.
Sure. I'd like to give a brief overview and then open it up to the board for questions for all of us. So basically, we're here this evening asking for 3 variances, all of which relate to C variances where we're dealing with a hardship in that we have an undersized lot where 5,000 is what we have and 7,500 is what the requirement is in this zone. In addition to that, 75-foot width is the requirement, and we're only at 50-foot wide. So we are dealing with a small lot, and it's very difficult to incorporate the project or the proposed project within the smaller lot without having to go for a variance. So I'll go over the variances one at a time. The first one is building coverage. The proposed is 29.8%, where the requirement is 25%, so we're about 4.8% over. The second one is impervious structures, and we're asking for 39.8%, where 35% is the requirement. And just one note on that is the existing impervious coverage is at 46.5%, and so we're reducing it by about 7% with this application. So we're heading in the right direction. We just couldn't get under the 35% due to the fact that we're dealing with a small lot. And then the last variance that we're asking for is just to allow us to put a small little roof line over the existing door or the existing porch, which would be about 14 feet from the property line, where 30 foot is the requirement. And a note on that, the existing front of the house is only at 11.4 feet to the property line. So this little roof line that we're asking to put on is going to be roughly about 3.5 feet behind the existing front wall of the house. So it's not going to be intrusive at all to the neighborhood. And basically it's just going to give us some cover, for snow and ice and rain and that kind of thing. So basically that's it in a nutshell. I do have some comments as it relates to the engineer's review. They had asked us for some additional information. We just got this on Friday, so I did some research and some additional work where the average grade, one of the things was the building height as it relates to the average grade. So I drew that up, and the building height that we're proposing, I know that I'm asking for, let's see, bear with me, 29.6, but when I did the calculation, it's actually a little less than that. It's going to be 28.5, so it's still under the 30-foot. So it's not an issue as it relates to height. As far as soil movement, we're not moving much soil at all, in that grades are not really changing. We're doing an addition out the rear, and basically it's close to being a walkout basement in the rear. So we're really not digging down all that much to put in the footings. So there's very little, and probably will not need soil movement requirements, or it will meet all the requirements, I should say. And then lastly, there was a question about the wood deck, and the wood deck will be slatted, so it will filter water through, and there will be pervious coverage underneath. So basically, we meet the 75% requirement for the deck area. That's it in a nutshell, and I'd like to answer any questions that the board has.
Okay, let me start with our engineer, Mr. Flores.
Good evening. Let me start with the building coverage. Can you please just clarify how you write the number?
With building coverage?
Yes.
So building coverage is, I have the house included, the front porch is included, the new addition, which is 317. I have the square footage of the deck at 277, with the 75% goes down to 69.25. And then I also included the square footage of the AC unit. I'm not sure if that should be included, but that was included, and that gets me at the 29.8%.
I just want to clarify that, you know, you don't take credit when for building coverage. The credit is only taken when you do the impervious calculations. So when you do the lot coverage, that's when you take the credit, not for building coverage.
When you say credit for?
So yes, so I believe what you're referring is to your table, right? There is a square footage of the front. I'm sorry, footage of the deck, and then for your building coverage calculation, you took that the 75% credit, correct?
That was my understanding. Yes.
Okay, so yeah, so no, I want to clarify that the ordinance reads as that the credit is only taken for lot coverage,
okay,
not for building coverage. So that number has to be taken as a full number.
Okay, that's fine. We can make that revision, no problem.
Just to clarify, I kind of did the math. You're roughly going to be at 33.96% on building coverage.
Okay.
Because you're gonna have it's a total. Yeah, you're gonna make around 33%. But you know that's something that needs to be clarified.
Yep.
Then I wanna also. Were you able to calculate the lot coverage without excluding the jar amenities?
Without the, I'm sorry, yeah, what I have an impervious net gain of negative 335 square feet. That was the coverage difference when I did all the details. When I removed the shed, removed the concrete patios, that kind of thing. So we're at a negative 335.
That's counting the credit, correct?
That is counting the credit with the deck, but it's removing what the amenities that we're removing.
Okay. Do I have another question? Give me a second. Let me double check here. Oh, another thing. On the plot plan provided, it wasn't unclear what areas are being removed, what areas are staying. Can you just go over those just for clarification purposes?
So everything that you see that the dashed line is being removed. So in the rear, there's a shed with a large.
Mr. Bella, could you share your screen so we could all
Sure.
see?
Are you able to see that?
Yes.
Okay. So plot plan here, basically these dashed lines represent patio that is being removed, a large set of steps that go up to the dwelling here, as well as a wood deck that is being removed. And then there's a little planter in the back that is being removed as well. And then in the rear of the property, there's a shed here with a large concrete platform underneath, both of which are being removed here. And then we are shortening the front walk to the steps because currently it goes all the way to the side here, and we're removing this portion of it as well. There's also a small little, or I should say there's a walk to the back, and we're reducing it down by about half, where it's about 5 foot wide or about 4 foot wide. We're knocking it back to about 2.5 foot wide and taking out this portion here to reduce down the impervious coverage even further.
Thank you. If you have a copy of the review letter, there was a comment that also needs to be addressed about the aggregate cover for the backyard. If the project move forward, that's something that, I mean, if the board approves the application, try to add that into the plans,
Yes.
just for clarification purposes.
Yes. No problem.
Please don't forget to submit the architectural a copy of the full plans, sign and seal of the architectural plan. Because the only one that we got it wasn't sign and seal. Just to put that on the record. And all right, so every homeowner that comes in town, drainage being a big issue. Someone that is making addition, even though you are going over. No, well, actually, you are adding some areas and you're removing some areas. We always recommend to just add some drainage infrastructure, some seepage pit, just for the, in this case, will be the addition, just to connect the roof leaders in the backyard. I will still strong recommend some drainage measures to be implemented.
Yeah, it's no problem. We usually, it depends on the town, obviously, but depending on the net gain, as far as the impervious coverage, we usually take that area and then we cover it for a 2% rainfall over time. So we'll work with the building department on their requirements or their specific requirements as to, what the seepage requirements will be, and we will provide with what is necessary.
It happened to be that we are the engineers for the towns as well, so.
Okay.
So that's usually what we do is we put a conditions of the resolution that the drainage should be approved prior to sign off on the plans from the planning board. Let me see, do I have any other comment on this? Well, soil movement as well, even though you're not, even though you're doing minimum movements, I mean, soil movement is a way that protects the towns to implement the drainage system. So you're still going to be required to apply for soil movement.
Sure.
That's something that needs to be done. Other than that, I would just tell the board that, yes, the property actually is decreasing the amount of impervious coverage that they have on the property. Even though the building coverage is increasing just because they're adding an addition, but overall the lot coverage is being reduced, which is a positive gain for this area. I want to point it out also that the lot is undersized. And the last question that I have is how is this addition being compared to the rest of the neighborhood?
So the addition will be very much in within the context of the neighborhood, horizontal siding, roof lines that will match again the residential feel of the neighborhood, asphalt shingles that will match the neighborhood as well. So basically, it is going to not have any bad effects on the neighborhood. It's a rear addition, not going to be seen by most people, but again, it's going to be architecturally, in terms of the architecture is going to fit well within the context of the neighborhood.
We're also staying within the style of their 1927 home, right? We're going to match double hung windows, similar height and width, right? Just really kind of keep with the traditional look of this house.
I don't have any other questions for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jason, can you just clarify the number for the building coverage that's now being proposed?
So based on the math that I did, and if I add, I mean, can you I'm sorry.
I'll do it as well.
Can you share the little? Can you share your table where building structure calculations are? Yeah, can you blow it up there so that everybody can see that? So you add all those numbers without taking the credit. I come out with 1698, which represents a 33.96%. But you know, if
That's what I get to.
okay.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let me move to the board then. First off, Mr. Gibbons?
Just on that same note, so I know earlier you said that it was a net loss in building coverage, but is it still without the credit for the deck?
It's a net loss in impervious coverage, not in building coverage. So the impervious coverage does include the 75% reduction for the deck, and the net was 331 square feet, and
So
that's
we're
a
adding
reduction in impervious.
Okay, but how much are we adding in terms of the overall building coverage then? What's our net
So-
gain?
I can share a document. Jason updated his review letter, but it wasn't able to be circulated in time, so I can put that up.
Mhm.
I'll try and.
That's
do
fine. I'm
that.
just looking for a rough number. I don't.
Yeah. I think, 1 second. All right, are you able to see that?
Not yet.
There we go.
Yes. Now I can see it.
So the building coverage, it changes from 1250 square feet is what would be permitted. 1170 is what's existing. 1490 is what's proposed.
Okay,
And-
so we're going up by about 300 on that, but we're on the lot coverage, we're going down about 300.
Yes.
Okay. That's all I had to ask. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Gibbons. Ms. Boland?
On that same line, and the letter that Jason provided, there is that extra variance for excluding the rear yard amenities. So that wasn't mentioned, but that is also a variance. Because there aren't any.
Yes, there'll be 3 variances required.
That was it for me.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Pfeffer?
Yeah, just on the parts of the property that are being removed, there were some pathways along the side. I believe you mentioned there's a short pathway in the front that's being
Yes.
reduced, and then the shed with some kind of slab in front of it, and all that's being removed.
Correct.
What is the plan for what type of surface is going to be replacing those concrete areas?
I won't speak for my client, but I assume it's going to be grass. I'll let them speak.
Yeah, that's correct.
Correct. Grass, and hopefully I'll get to put my vegetable garden back.
Sounds good. Okay, that was my only question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Pfeffer. Mr. Godier?
No questions. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Bella, I just have one question. On the plot plan,
Yes.
there's, on the left-hand side, there's a double crosshatched line that comes out from the new building, goes to the north, and then comes back toward the front of the house.
We talking about this here?
Oh, you're not sharing
Share,
anymore.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Should I reshare?
Can you reshare? Yeah.
Yeah,
Just-
sure. Are we talking about this here?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's the border of the existing patio that is now coming out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a dashed line representing to be removed.
Okay, that's part
That
of it.
whole area is a patio.
Yeah,
Okay.
but that's the border of it. Yeah.
Okay, so that's all coming out. Okay. I think that was my only question. Okay. Thank you very much. Ms. Steinle, any questions from you?
I do not have any questions at this time. Thank you.
Great, thank you. This time I'll look to open it to the public for questions and comments. Have a motion to do that, please.
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Boland. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Gaudier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, any abstain? Okay, at this time, we're now open to the public for comment on this application and this application alone. This is again 726 Center Avenue. Do we have anybody in the public? I don't think we do. Ms.
There
Steinle?
is one individual, so if you're interested in commenting or asking questions on this application, please press the raise hand button on Zoom. Doesn't look like it.
Okay, if you, just to confirm, if you'd like to comment on this application, please hit your raise hand icon on Zoom.
I
Okay,
don't see.
I will take that as a no. At this time, I'll look for a motion to close the public for comment.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Gaudier. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Pfeffer. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, any abstain? Okay, we're now closed to the public for comment. Final comments and or questions from members of the board or our professionals?
Just to go over the conditions, that the applicant would comply with the recommendations and comments in the board engineer's reports, including the revised report, which will be circulated, that had the updated calculations. The applicant will add drainage infrastructure in coordination with the borough engineer for the seepage pit and comply with soil movement permitting. Provide signed and sealed updated plans, add the coverages to the plans, and it was a clarification as to the variances. There's 4 variances that are required for building coverage, lot coverage, excluding yard amenities, lot coverage with yard amenities, and then the front yard setback.
Okay.
Sorry,
That's all I
what
had.
is the land amenities or the excluding, what is that, the 4th variance that we need? Just so we know what we need to do.
It's part of the lot coverage calculation. It's just broken down between the total lot coverage, including decks, patios, things like that, and then the total lot coverage without those amenities, because some projects were being developed where the house was built out to the full capacity and there was no room for a patio, a deck, things like that for people to actually enjoy their yards. And so that's why there's that split. But you don't have to do anything different.
Okay, anything further? Mr. Belli, you're all right, and then reports those conditions?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
All right, that being the case, I'll look for a motion on the application, please.
I'll make the motion for 726 Center Avenue, block 411, lot 9, per the stipulation set forth by Ms. Steinle and the 4 variances, to approve the 4 variances for the property.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Givens. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Gaudier. Ms. Steinle, when you're ready.
Thank you. Mr. Caslin,
Yes.
Ms. Boland,
Yes.
Mr. Gibbons,
Yes.
Mr. Pfeffer,
Yes.
and Mr. Godier.
Yes.
Okay, the motion passes.
Okay, congratulations, folks. Best of luck with your project.
Thank you.
you,
Thank you.
everyone.
With that, we have no old business to attend to this evening. So at the end of our agenda, unless anybody has any new business comments, questions, good welfare.
My only comment is that I'll be emailing you, Chris, and Ryan already have your signature, but for the housing element resolution, I need to finalize that and as soon as possible in the morning. So,
You got it.
all right, thank you.
All right.
I'm good. I'm good on that. You just need Chris?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. All right, great.
No problem. All right,
Yes.
Mr. Alter.
Just so everybody knows, for the next meeting on July 9th, it includes several D variances. This is the one for the billboard on Grand and Route 4, which means the mayor and councilman will not be present. So if you can attend, please do. We will need a quorum, obviously. I'll send out a note to everybody, but just to give you a warning that we're going to need everybody present. Thank you.
So if your schedule changes, if you can let Ed know as soon as possible, much appreciated. As I know everybody generally does. So with that, I'll look for a motion to close the meeting.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Pfeffer. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Godier, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We're now closed and adjourned. It is 9:07 p.m. Everyone have a great night, and we'll see you next time.
You
night.
too.
Have a nice
Good
night,
night.
everybody.
Bye.
Right.